Hey, what is up, mortals? It is Trina Do Hard here with a new video for you. In this video, we'll dive into Todoroki's hero costume evolution from the My Hero Academia anime. I just wanted to greet you guys by saying, just sit back and relax, you're in for a treat. So, let's get started. In the world of My Hero Academia, 80% of the world's population has super abilities known as quirks. With the rise of superpowers came the rise of heroes who maintain peace in society. A part of being a hero is the way they present themselves to the public. So many heroes have costumes that range from flamboyant to plain to nonsensical. Today, we'll be looking at a hero student from the UA High's Class 1A, Shoto Todoroki. His hero costume evolution throughout the My Hero Academia series is heavily linked to his character development and quirk evolution. His costume has changed drastically from its first appearance to its current one, and the journey that brought him there is a long one. It's jarring to see how much Todoroki has changed from the beginning of the series to the end of it. So let us ease into it by starting from the beginning. Shoto Todoroki grew up as the son of the number 2 hero, Endeavor. His father was obsessed with power and prestige to the point of having an arranged marriage with an ice quirk user to have a genetically modified child with a perfect quirk, half hot, half cold. After having 3 children, Shoto was the perfect quirk user that Endeavor was looking for. Shoto's quirk gives him the ability to generate ice from the right side of his body and flames from his left side. The quirk allows him to regulate his body temperature without becoming too cold or too hot when overusing one element. For his entire childhood, Shoto was separated from his siblings and forced to train his quirk because his entire purpose was to be a tool to surpass the number 1 hero, All Might. The lifestyle combined with his mother's mental breakdown has caused Shoto to reject and hate his father, and the part of his quirk that his father gave him, fire. When we first see Todoroki's hero costume during the Battle Trials arc, the entirety of the left side of his body was covered in ice. He physically covers the side of his body that produces flames to symbolize his rebellion against his father and to prove that he doesn't need his flames to become number 1. The color scheme of his first costume is centered around the color of ice and snow, white. The plain white jumpsuit is straightforward in purpose and design. This shows how Todoroki doesn't necessarily care how he's perceived. He only cares about getting the job done. He has glowing red eyes embedded in the ice, which blocks his gaze, symbolic of how he always looks past people, as discussed during Provisional Licensing Exam arc. Todoroki was obsessed with proving his father wrong, and he embodied the goal of surpassing All Might by only using his ice side. He was fueled by hatred and spite, which is why he declared war on the person he saw as a threat, Midoriya, during the sports festival. During the one-on-one fighting tournament, Todoroki had a revelation during his battle with Midoriya. Todoroki was told that his quirk wasn't Endeavor's power, but instead his own, and the speech reminded him of the passion for the heroism he once felt as a child while watching All Might with his mother. This breakthrough allowed him to melt away the metaphorical ice around his heart and to be open to using his fire side. Todoroki's battle with his lifelong traumas wouldn't be resolved so simply, as, during his match with Bakugo, he couldn't bring himself to attack with his flames, which cost him the first place podium. Midoriya was able to break through to Todoroki, however, he still struggled to find himself as a person, not a tool for Endeavor. He finally found the resolve to face his mother and receive closure from her, which allowed him to become more open to using his flames afterward. His mother and father had caused Todoroki to form a mental block with the way his quirk works due to mental and physical scars. Rei had poured scalding water in his left eye due to her trauma with Endeavor, and in a panic, she used her quirk on the burn, causing him to receive a freezer burn over his left eye. During the war arc, it is suggested that Todoroki's mental block caused him to separate his quirk on 2 sides of his body. He may be able to produce either element on any side of his body, and the result of his training is shown in the manga. After meeting with his mother, Todoroki's personality has shown to soften from his previously jaded persona. The ice walls he put up melted, as did the ice on his hero costume, as he no longer smothers his flames with ice. He now wears a dark blue all-purpose jumpsuit with various temperature regulators attached to his costume. Despite having a new costume that allows him to use his fire side, his internal conflict with his flames is still present. He struggles to use the flames as proficient as his ice, and he has yet to utilize both elements simultaneously. During his battle with Stain, Todoroki remained heavily proficient with his ice usage and only used his flames when needed. When he did use his flames, however, it wasn't as proficient as his ice, and he often missed the attacks he sent out. That doesn't make this moment any less impactful, as it is the first time Todoroki is using his flames during a fight in his new hero costume. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. With the services Skillshare provides, you can get access to many in-depth tutorial videos on basically anything you want to learn. Each class that they have is bound to help you with your creative endeavors. Do you want to learn how to make videos like this one? Do you learn how to read scripts or edit audio? Skillshare has you covered, and with our link, you can have a 14-day free trial. So what are you waiting for? Click the link now and get 14 days worth of classes free. Link in description below. What is shown is that his hero costume now accommodates both sides of his quirk, showing a physical representation of his evolution. The costume itself is still plain and straightforward like his first costume, which shows that he still has character consistency in the fact that he wants to be a hero for the sake of helping people, not for power or prestige like his father. Endeavor purposely ignites different parts of his body to maintain an air of prestige with his flames, which shows his priorities as a hero for recognition and power, unlike Shoto. Todoroki's costume is, simply put, boring with no visual additions for aesthetics or design. Despite this, he is one of the most practical hero costumes in his class. His entire costume is flame and ice resistant. Many of his support items are often upgraded or switched out following the increased control and strength he has over his quirks, such as his various temperature regulators and gauntlets. He even had mobility and health in mind with his boots and first aid kit capsules. Another fun fact is that Todoroki and Midoriya share the same costume designer. This is shown in the fact that both of them have simple all-purpose jumpsuits that are straightforward in design. The change in his costume's color scheme also shows personal growth. Previously, he was adorning himself with the color white, which stands for clarity and openness, but in reality, he was putting on this front to stifle the dark red parts of his quirk and personality. He was covering the rage, anger, and intense passion that lay underneath the layers of his trauma. But after breaking through, he now wears dark blue, which represents power, integrity, and knowledge, which shows how far he's come to accepting his power and himself. Todoroki's journey with his power and trauma isn't always a constant improvement. Like in real life, everyone hits roadblocks that can either make or break improvement. For Todoroki, the provisional licensing exam proved to be an unexpected challenge. He had an altercation with Inasa, a student that had met Todoroki during the UA recommendation entrance exam. During this point in Todoroki's life, he was cold and rude as a result of being spiteful towards the path his father was pushing onto him, leading Inasa to be disgusted with the dual quirk user's attitude. It is noted that Todoroki always looked past people, which is probably the reason why he covered his left eye with a glass that obscures his gaze. They began infighting and tripping each other up during the exam, as Inasa's wind quirk and Todoroki's fire were clashing. This fighting left him vulnerable to being taken down, and in the end, led to Todoroki's failure in securing a hero license. Despite this setback, he took remedial classes which helped him and Inasa put their differences aside and work together, which also caused Todoroki further develop into a better person who isn't defined by his past or trauma. After his winter internship with Endeavor, Todoroki upgraded his hero costume for the third time to further optimize his fire and ice temperature regulation. He also has support items to increase his firepower. He also added more first aid equipment to his utility belt. The costume also has some visual aesthetic differences, such as a darker blue color. The support items he used include a temperature-sensing jacket, which is heat-resistant, a combat vest that automatically heats up or cools down according to Todoroki's current temperature. Originally, his original costume's combat vest only heated up, but now, it evolved to accommodate the full extent of his power. As he explained during the remedial course arc, Todoroki has about 5 metal capsules on his utility belt that contain water, pain medicine, and disinfectants which act as a first aid kit. His third costume added 4 additional capsules, bringing the total to 9. Todoroki is often seen transporting himself by using a path of ice underneath his feet. This is possible because his snow boots have spikes under the soles that allow him to slide on the ice without slipping. Todoroki also has gauntlets on his wrists that are designed to hold hot and cold air within them, so that Shoto can compress his ice and fire better. Previously, his wrist guards were temperature regulators, but they were replaced with these gauntlets in his third hero costume. Besides these 3 costume changes, Todoroki wore a 4th hero costume for a top secret mission. As an intern for the Endeavor Agency, Todoroki, alongside Midoriya and Bakugo, were given special stealth costumes to help them complete their mission for the World Heroes Association during the 3rd movie. Todoroki's costume resembles that of his 3rd hero costume, except that the color is now black instead of dark blue. He still has temperature regulators attached to the costume, but the color scheme was changed to maintain a completely black and white look. His snow boots still have the same functionality to help him slide on his ice, and his gauntlets extend up to his elbows, instead of staying around his wrist. He also still has a utility belt that contains his first aid kit canisters. A new addition to this costume is an oversized hood that he could use alongside the turtleneck part of the costume to hide his face. For every iteration of Todoroki's hero costume, it's very plain. This aspect of his fashion style might be a result of his childhood. The Todoroki family is rich, which can be seen in his dorm room, which is a replication of the mansion he grew up in. His house and room are traditional Japanese-style housing, which shows that he has a strong connection with his heritage and roots. These internal connections show that Todoroki prefers many aspects of his life to be simple and not eccentric. He wears simple outfits such as a plain white t-shirt with a jacket over it with solid colored pants. This correlates with his personality, as he is often reserved and doesn't like to show off. Despite having a basic stylistic sense, his costume design is one of the most iconic and loved designs from the My Hero Academia series. Once a closed-off and resentment-filled person, Todoroki became someone who is now known for their aloof and caring personality. The heroic feats he has accomplished were previously closed off to him, as he closed himself off from the potential he had. With the changes he has faced, the changes Endeavor has faced, and the changes the Todoroki family has faced, Shoto has come to accept it all and face it head-on. The past never forgets, but the past doesn't define who you become either. Thank you for joining us and following Todoroki in his costume's evolution. Please, let us know in the comments which costume you would like to see analyzed next. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in all this information thus far. I hope you enjoyed it! Now there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, if you're in the mood for some great storytelling, We the Celestials has got you covered. Our We the Celestials, My Hero Academia, and Naruto What If channels retell the story of their namesake anime with a twist. Check it out if you're interested. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details can be found in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, then I'd like to extend you an invitation to join the team. The only caveat being that we only accept members from 16 years and up to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interest by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. We're always looking for members to join us. And if you want to see more content by me, check out my social medias at Trina Do Heart on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and more. Well, that's it from us for today's video, so thank you all for watching and have a great day. Bye!